There is a version of you that nobody has met yet. Not your friends, not your family, not even you. He is quiet. He is dangerous in the calmest way possible. And he is built in rooms nobody sees. Before you go any further, I want you to comment one word right now. Silent. Just that. One word. Because when you commit publicly, even in a single word, your brain treats it as a promise, and promises change behavior in ways wishes never do. This is not a video about motivation. Motivation fades by tomorrow morning. This is about a transformation so complete that people won't recognize your energy when you walk back into a room. But here's what almost nobody realizes. The version of you that disappears is not running away. He is preparing for war, the quiet kind, the internal kind, the kind Marcus Aurelius fought every single day of his life. Stay until the very end, because the final lesson in this video is the one most men discover only after they've already wasted years learning it the hard way. Subscribe if you're serious about becoming someone new, not someone louder, someone stronger. Now let's talk about the pain that brought you here in the first place. You already know the feeling. It's 11 p.m., and you're scrolling through people who seem to have their life assembled while yours feels scattered across 100 unfinished intentions. You told yourself this year would be different. You said it in January. You still believe it, somewhere underneath the exhaustion. But there's a specific ache that comes from watching time move faster than your progress. It's not laziness. It's not weakness. It's the quiet grief of potential you can feel but can't access yet. Have you ever noticed that the moments you feel most invisible are also the moments you feel closest to something bigger, just out of reach? That's not a coincidence. That tension is the exact space where transformation begins, but almost nobody stays in that space long enough to let it work. They numb it. They distract it. They drown it in noise. When was the last time you sat with your own silence without reaching for your phone within 30 seconds? Most people can't remember. And that's the real tragedy hiding underneath everything. Not that life is hard, but that we've forgotten how to disappear long enough to rebuild. So what does disappearing actually look like, and why did the Stoics consider it sacred? The first principle is this: you cannot build a new man in a room full of old witnesses. Seneca understood this over 2,000 years ago when he warned that crowds are dangerous to character. That even good people become corrupted simply by proximity to noise, comparison, and distraction. He wasn't talking about literal danger. He was talking about the slow erosion of your standards every time you absorb someone else's chaos as your own normal. Think about the last time you tried to change while staying in the exact same environment, surrounded by the exact same people, consuming the exact same content. Did it work? Be honest in the comments. How long did that version of change actually last? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Disappearing isn't dramatic. It's not a mountain retreat or a movie montage. It's turning your phone face down for 3 hours. It's declining the invitation that used to define your week. It's choosing an empty room over an empty conversation. Seneca called this retreating into yourself, and he did it not out of fear of people, but out of respect for the man he was still becoming. Picture someone you know who suddenly went quiet for a few months, and when they came back, something had shifted in how they carried themselves. That shift didn't happen by accident. It happened in the silence nobody witnessed. This is your practical action. Choose 1 hour today where no one can reach you. No notifications. No explanations. Just you and the version of yourself you've been avoiding. What would you discover about yourself if there was truly nowhere left to hide? But disappearing alone means nothing if you don't know what to do once you're finally alone. That's where most men quietly fail, and it's exactly what the next principle exposes. The second principle cuts deeper. Silence without study is just isolation. Silence with study is transformation. This is the part almost nobody talks about. Disappearing feels powerful, But if you disappear and do nothing with that space except rest, scroll, or ruminate, you haven't built anything. You've just hidden. Epictetus, a man born into slavery who became one of history's sharpest minds, believed that the untrained mind is a battlefield controlled by whoever shows up first. Fear, doubt, comparison, whoever's loudest. Study, real study, is how you take command of that battlefield before the noise does. Here's the surprising insight most people miss. Studying in silence isn't about consuming more information. It's about processing the information you already have until it becomes identity instead of just knowledge. There's a difference between knowing something and becoming someone because of it. Have you ever read a book, felt inspired for 2 days, and then completely forgotten it a week later? That's information without integration. That's exactly what silent study is designed to fix. Picture a man alone in a quiet room, notebook open, not scrolling, not performing productivity for anyone watching, just wrestling honestly with his own weaknesses on paper. That image feels almost extinct today. And that's precisely why the men who still do it separate themselves so completely from everyone else. Tell me honestly in the comments, when was the last time you sat with a book or your own thoughts with zero distractions for even 30 minutes? This single habit, repeated daily, rewires how you respond to pressure, criticism, and chaos. It's not glamorous. Nobody films it. But it is the invisible engine behind every version of a man who seems unshakable. Silence prepares the mind. Study sharpens it. But none of this matters if the body isn't strong enough to carry what the mind has become. And that's where everything intensifies. The third principle is where transformation becomes undeniable. You train the body not for appearance, but to prove to your own mind that you don't quit when it's uncomfortable. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, ruler of one of the most powerful empires in history, still trained his body and disciplined his habits daily, not for vanity, but because he understood something most people never grasp. Physical discomfort is where character gets tested in real time, not theory. Think about the last time your legs were burning mid-workout and a voice inside you said, "Stop." Did you listen to that voice, or did you push through it? That single decision, repeated daily, becomes the blueprint for how you respond to every hard moment in life. Deadlines, conflict, rejection, grief. Here's a practical example. A man who trains at 5 a.m. in silence, no audience, no applause, is quietly proving something to himself that no comment section could ever validate, that he does hard things even when nobody is watching. That's not ego. That's evidence. And evidence is what builds unshakable self-trust, the kind that can't be shaken by outside opinions because it was earned alone, in silence, under real physical strain. Have you ever noticed how much easier it is to handle emotional pain once you've proven to yourself you can handle physical pain? This is not about becoming the strongest man in the room. It's about becoming a man whose mind and body finally agree with each other, instead of constantly fighting for control. Who are you becoming with your current habits right now, today, this week? Disappearing builds space. Studying builds wisdom. Training builds proof. But there is one final principle that ties everything together, and it's the one that determines whether this transformation lasts 6 days or changes the rest of your life. The fourth principle is the one almost nobody talks about, and it's this: you don't return to prove anything to others. You return because you no longer need their permission to become who you already are. This is the highest point of the entire transformation. Disappearing wasn't about hiding from the world. Studying wasn't about accumulating knowledge to impress anyone. Training wasn't about becoming visually impressive for approval. Every single piece was about rebuilding your relationship with yourself, quietly, privately, without an audience validating each step. Seneca wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality, and that includes imagining how people will react to your return. Here's what changes everything. The man who comes back unstoppable doesn't announce it. He doesn't need to. His calm says it. His eyes say it. His presence says it. People will notice something different, but they won't be able to name it, and that's exactly the point. You're no longer performing strength. You've simply become it. This is the most memorable lesson of everything you've just heard. Real transformation is never loud in the moment it happens. It's loud later, in the results, in the way you handle pressure that used to break you, in the peace you carry that used to be anxiety. You didn't disappear to escape your life. You disappeared to finally meet the version of yourself capable of handling it. And once you understand that, you'll never look at silence, solitude, or discipline the same way again. So what does this actually look like 6 months from now? Picture yourself 6 months from today. You walk into the same room you used to feel invisible in, but something has shifted. You're not louder. You're not seeking attention. You're just settled, grounded. The kind of calm that used to feel impossible now feels natural, because you built it one silent morning at a time. People will ask what changed. You won't have a dramatic story. You'll simply say you started showing up for yourself when no one was watching. That sentence alone will carry more weight than any explanation ever could, because they'll see it in how you carry yourself, not just hear it in your words. The man who used to reach for his phone out of anxiety now reaches for silence out of strength. The man who used to quit workouts early now finishes what he starts in every part of his life. The man who used to seek validation now simply exists, complete, without needing anyone's confirmation that he's enough. This is not a fantasy. This is available to you starting today, in the very next hour, in the very next choice you make. You are not far from this version of yourself. You are one disappearance, one silent study session, one uncomfortable rep away from remembering exactly who you were always meant to become. The question was never whether you're capable of this. The only question that ever mattered is whether you're finally ready to stop waiting. Comment one word right now that describes who you're becoming. Just one word. Let it be a promise to yourself, not a performance for anyone else. If this reached you at the right moment, share it with someone who needs to hear it today, someone who's been quietly struggling in silence just like you have. Subscribe if you're serious about this path, because this is only the beginning of what's coming next. The world will keep moving loudly. Let it. Your strength was never meant to be loud. It was only ever meant to be real.